from Geeking Out Podcast. It's Friday night. I'm your host, Geekpool, and the co-host is Todd, who doesn't wear geeky shirts. We need geekier shirts, Todd. Geekier shirt. That's ink, not shirt. See, see, this is even my own brand. Ooh. Urgh. Saying something useful. You're asking a lot from me. Well, we went to Comic Con a few weeks back, CK Expo. What was your experience like when you were there? TV star. Hey, I've been in probably more movies than you have. You just have speaking lines. That's the only difference. That is like one of my favorite cons to go to every year. Unfortunately, I won't be there next year because of other finances, but hey, the Windsor Ghostbusters will definitely be there representing. I've been going there for the past like 7 years myself, and then for the past 5 years with the Ghostbuster group. Um, oh wow, right. Yeah, I think that was the first time I actually won something in a cosplay contest when I was there. Right. They don't have me as a judge there for all different reasons. Oh, that's why I got right. I totally forgot to do that. Okay. Geek pulls the name. But yeah, CK Expo is a really good con. It's not necessarily local to us since we're like in the southern part of Ontario. They're a little bit more north than we are, but we that is a good con to go to. I mean, I'm really hoping that Windsor starts to get a con that'll be as big or bigger than CK, but like this is only their second year running the fan con, and they're still having hiccups there. Um, Last year was very, very small for the venue they had. I'm hoping this year they do get a lot more vendors, and hopefully they can start thriving like CK Expo does. I mean, well, I did talk to the showrunner like kind of close to the end of last year's fan con, and I did tell them to reach out to Rob and say, "Hey, is there any pointers on how we can get better?" And I'm guessing either A, he did reach out to Rob, or they found something else, because it's now 2 days. I mean, CK Expo took 10 years to get 2 days, and like second year FanCon's already 2 days. So it sounds like they're up and running pretty well, but sometimes the communication isn't the best. I'm only speaking this from inside baseball, because I'll send an email and won't hear back for like another 2 weeks. Right. 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 Oh yeah. Like when Windsor Comic Con was going on, Jeremy was running that pretty much fairly well. But when he took over and did his own con, sad to say, I don't really think they knew what that con wanted to be because it felt like a third of it was Godzilla, but like of course you have like makers of Godzilla there, so yeah, make the theme that, but then you had sports people and then you wanted to have it as a Comic Con. Like pick one and run with it. Right, right. People. Ah, like well, it's good input. Also, like I felt like going into the con, you're walking by table after table that was empty and it was just used for advertising. Like instead of taking all the cosplayers and sticking them in a room, you should have had all your cosplayers in that main hallway engaging people, but the advertisements would be behind it. So let's say Toyota, one of the Toyota dealership was a sponsor. Toyota dealership is sponsoring the Windsor Ghostbusters, and then this is sponsoring this cosplayer. So it kind of pays off itself, and also that hallway's not just empty full of advertisements, and the cosplayers feel like they're kind of a part of the con instead of just stuck in a room where nobody really went into unless you're a cosplayer. Right. Right. San Diego and San Diego San Diego does it, New York does it, like the major cons do it. Even Motor City, I think, kind of does it. Right, right. Yeah, I kind of like what they show at like grocery stores and stuff like that. Right. Right. I kind of actually felt like last year was a little bit bigger than this year. Last year he had the one person from Mandalorian slash like from Star Wars, uh, Tika, and then he had somebody from Letterkenny or not Letterkenny, but Shorzy, and then I believe he had someone else that was like pretty big. Oh, right, right, shout out to, and also comic comic book stores that like both of us most likely go to. Free comic book day just was just around the corner, and I try to go to all five of them. I think there's like five of them now that you can go to within Windsor. Right. Right. We'll figure it out. Mhm. Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur. You have to say it like this. Entrepreneurs. I don't think it's Italian, but who's that? Never heard of them. Well, like when we're up in London, if you're gonna go up to London, we can always talk to like Geeking Company and like kind of do like a small combined podcast of us interviewing them and they can interview us and vice versa. And I can always reach out to like Jay's, I think it's JS and Jeff and see if they'd be interested in doing it themselves. Cause like London, I'll be up there already with the Windsor Ghostbusters, and then we're also trying to launch the Southwestern Ontario Ghostbusters at that con. So I'll have a double booth and I can like get away at most points in London. So I'll definitely be up there for that. As I said before, I'll be over at the Motor City Con tomorrow. I want to talk to a couple of cosplayers I already know that are going to be there and see if I can get a couple talking tos and right. I do have a long listing of local Comic Cons with a that are kind of like within about 4 hour drive. I will list them when we actually just like do a big topic on Comic Cons. Um, I always like to keep a listing on where they are, when they are, and stuff like that. There are some that are kind of outside of our the 4 hour, but only because they are the big cons. And I like to pay attention to those big cons because that's when the big announcements are. San Diego, New York, there's one in Brazil. Um, and then Chicago has two, like a Fan Expo and C2E2. Announcements aren't usually at those, but big names are. Like I've been to Chicago for a Star Wars celebration and Kevin Smith's Chronicon. And I love going to cons there. Toronto has Toronto Comic Con, Fan Expo, Anime North, and then a bunch of other little cons as well, in and around the GTA area. Brampton, I think, just had it's either this weekend or last weekend. They're Brantford or Brant, I think it's Brantford. They're about to have their Comic Con, and I know one of the showrunners there. Niagara Falls Comic Con is coming up in the beginning of June. I can't go, however, because I'll be at Art in the Park. Right. Um, so we'll have like a list of events that are like kind of local to where we are. And we'll s- start keep going on that list. And if anyone does have another suggestion on that's not on the list, we can always add it. There's a con I just learned about. It's called Yeti Con. It's just north of Barrie. It's in driving distance to us, and we could all eventually we can always go to that con. I believe it's in June. I know Geekin Company are big into that con now. Right. Oh yeah. Shatner's gonna be there. Two people from TNG, Next Generation, uh Simon Pegg, Carl Urban, two people from Game of Thrones, Jon Snow and Cersei. Like Motor City always comes with the big guns, and I'm very thankful the fact that it's just over the river for us. And like I may not meet any of these guys, but that's usually how I kind of judge a con. What celebrities are going to be there and how big the shop floor is. Those are the two biggest things when you want to go to a con. It like uh Tronicon was very small. Like it's smaller than CK Expo, but they had celebrities there that I really wanted to meet, all from Kevin Smith movies. Like they had Dante, they had Jason Lee from a bunch of his movies. Of course, they had Jay and Silent Bob, Kevin Smith and Jay Muse, uh, Kevin's wife, Kevin's daughter, Kevin's daughter's boyfriend, who was in a couple of his movies. They had like a lot of people there, but the shop floor wasn't as big as CK Expo. Of course, this is that last year was only their second year, but I kind of expected a little bit bigger, but of course they are growing. Like the Windsor the Windsor Fan Con coming up in July, that's what I wanted to do. It was smaller than CK Expo, but of course it was only their first year. And I this year they're going 2 days, which is great. And from what I hear, it's going to be over 86 vendors. And I'm really hoping they can like fill out the entire floor. Hmm. Right. Like there's a lot of guests there I'd love to meet. I just can't afford to do it. If I had the money, if I had unlimited money and a VIP pass, I'd definitely go meet like probably at least seven or eight of them. But it's like me, I love going to the cons to cosplay, to see new cosplays I've never seen before, and to meet up with friends that like I don't get to see as often. The Detroit Ghostbusters. There, I have other friends over the border that usually go to this con, and then some of the people from Windsor are going there as well. No, I want to say he's with AEW, but I can't. I'm not for sure. I'm almost positive he's still kicking. Yeah, I totally forgot the King and JR were going to be there. Those are two other like if I have the extra money, I might actually go meet them. I've met so many wrestlers in the past years I can't even count anymore. Most of the time I've been going to the Autoramas to meet them. Easy yet, like if you go early enough, you can get in line and meet a wrestler on a certain day. Like Kevin Nash and I believe Trish Stratus were at Autorama this year. That's not bad. I don't know if you saw that. Well, right. Well, I can always get into Discord myself. I just got to figure out what my password was. Well, we don't really have to reset. We can actually end it. We don't have a lot more to say unless you do. Right. Well, well, we'll look into it. If you're I have a couple interviews from CK Expo of a couple cosplayers we can that'll be in the future. I think you have to preset it for a certain time. It's either that or you have to pay them for. Doesn't like you, Todd. Fine. Well, that was abrupt. Are we done live? I don't even think you noticed. Yeah, stop swearing. I haven't even sworn once. Holy shit. Come on, you can tell us you've done cam before. We all know, Todd. On only cams? Oh, okay. I definitely have the time. Never heard of them. Oh, I thought that would be Obafemi. Gunther. Right. Well, well, that was a squash match. I saw that coming a mile away. Like they do that with everybody. They did that with Brock when he first came in. They gave him a whole bunch of squash matches. And that's right. Well, from what I see is I think they're pushing him hard to be the next Roman because Roman wants to be a part-timer from what it looks like. And I think what it's going to end up be is he's going to be the next Roman. And also, like, he could go up against Rusev. Rusev would actually put up a big fight for him. Also, there's a few people in SmackDown that could put up a big Gunther could put up a big fight for him. It's not all power when it comes to the WWE because like I've seen Brock Lesnar be put down by a lot of other wrestlers that are smaller than him. Right. Like I know like look watching wrestling now as predictable as it is, that's how I see where it's going. Like um I've been watching wrestling since like 80s and I can see a lot of where they're going. I'm more interested in what they're doing with Danhausen than almost anything else. Like, right. Right. Priest. Well, like the whole thing with like Ron Killings or R Truth, you should keep him on one show and then keep Danhausen on the other. So you have a comic relief on each show. Like R Truth is killing it over on SmackDown, so keep him on SmackDown. Keep Danhausen over on Raw, and then have them be the comic relief on each show. Now, now that you have that, then you have your like your championships. They're not really doing anything with the tag team champions. Like I haven't seen that either of those titles have not been defended since WrestleMania in a pay-per-view. Sorry. In a in a pay-per-view. Right. Because like right, like what I think I saw a post earlier like why do we need the Wyatts? Well, the Wyatts were actually, to me, way more entertaining than the MFT because, like, when they came out, you saw the crowd. Everyone loves it, and the MFT they don't really know what to do with them, but they don't really want to leave like get rid of Solo Sokoa because he's part of the family. And of course, yeah, he's part of Rock's family, so he's still going to be in there. Well, to be honest, what they should have did with that family is not break them up at all. They shouldn't have broke them up whatsoever. They should have just kept building, kind of like the NWO, but with family members. Well, they could have had Naya. They could have had Naya, Tamara, and Jimmy Uso's wife. And then The Rock's daughter, I think she's more of a like a interviewer, isn't she not? Right. But like she could have still been like some sort of valet or something. Like you could have built that entire family and kept building on the storyline. Yes, you lose the title, then you go away for a bit, you come back, then what? Like Solo Sokoa could have kept building on his MFT, but they didn't know what to do with him. They still don't know what to do with him. Exactly. Like, why release part of a faction if you're not going to do anything with them? Of Wyatt's, yeah. And well, the last match, I don't know if you noticed, I think Rowan got hurt. I'm almost positive he got hurt. And if you don't have them all, you can't have, if you don't have them all, they don't really want to come out just like with four of them. And I think that's what the issue was, is that the fact that Rowan got hurt, so you can't really use them, you might as well release them. I'm surprised they released Rowan because he got injured. Like CM Punk took a hiatus, but that like if you look at every WrestleMania in the past like 5, 10 years, the loser usually always takes a hiatus. Look at RKO right now. Where is he? He's taking a hiatus. Why? He was kind of like carrying that storyline on his back. Same with CM Punk. He was carrying the title and the Raw storyline on his back. I I think almost everyone thought the Danhausen crate was going to put the Shield back together. And that might actually be the best thing for WWE is if Rowan ever does drop the title, put the Shield back together, and if you're not going to get John Moxley, get someone else. Put CM Punk in there. But I know Punk and Roman don't really get along. All right. Now someone else came up with a really good storyline for the female tag team is like Brie. Well, Paige would get hurt backstage, and then Nikki is all of a sudden cured or not injured anymore, comes back and defends the title with Brie, and turns out Nikki hurt Paige. And then Paige comes back with AJ Elite. defender, the diamond cutter. Um, right. Like what? Oh, I'm sure he'll be back by like something to do with SummerSlam, or they're going to need him for like Royal Rumble or so. Not Royal Rumble, but King of the Ring. I don't know what they're doing with Roman, to be honest. I kept hearing that he's not even going to be in feud events, and but he's the champion. So I don't remember who Ezekiel is. Hmm. Oh, okay, yeah. I thought he got cut a while ago. No, Ezekiel. I always thought he was bigger, like bulkier. Hmm. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like you gave the tag team championships to Logan Paul and what's his name, Austin Theory, and you're doing nothing with them. Like there are good teams. It's just the fact that you keep slapping two people together and calling it a team. The LWO, right? Yep. Like there's another tag team. I'm still surprised they're still around, and that's that Baxium or whatever. Like why? And they cut them. Like that's another team that could have held the tag titles for a while instead of slapping Ron Killings and Priest together. What? Why not give it to Motor City? Well, now they're playing around with Vision or whatever, right? But like I see, Well, that like the one thing I would like a lot of people keep saying there shouldn't be like a lot of factions, but there's one faction I'd love to see them do. It's kind of like a new nation of domination. Now, hear me out. Obafemi, Trick, um, that new kid they just brought up, Yvonne Evans, and then I think Apollo Cruz got let go, but there was someone else that could be in that faction. And then that faction can actually go against MFT because MFT has no one to fight, really. Right. Like if you put all of them together, like, right. But like, of course, there's more people in NWO than WCW at the time. The biggest problem is like, well, yeah, no one saw that coming. Well, he begged Vince for it for like years, and Vince said, "No, your run's done," and that's why he went to WCW. Right. All right. Is there anything else? um, no, I would just say like our next stream is gonna try to be a little bit more flow. Maybe an interview. We'll slip an interview in there. Um, but yeah, like we're pretty much going to be talking about geeky stuff, the stuff that we're most passionate about, the stuff that like we we care about. For me, it's like cosplay, comic book movies, shows, stuff like that. Todd, it's sports, WWE, and Metallica, of course. perspective. Hmm, what they seem to be. Oh yeah, right. Mm. What's it from though? Supernatural? Yeah. No, it's correct when I see it. I just couldn't read it. I think it was the lighting. So I'm gonna steal something that you said during the interview to end off the stream. What are you passionate about right now? I think we just got the 5 minute warning, so I'll cut mine short. Cosplay. Pretty much cosplay, like the con season started. Right. Well, that's not even half of it, trust me. The the other side of this room is even bigger. But yeah, like cosplay, like you can see here, I have different Deadpool masks. This one, the one I was wearing on the previous stream, and then I have like several masks over there. My closet of cosplay is right here. Con season started, so I'm going to multiple events as Ghostbuster, and tomorrow I'll be going as my new Ghostbuster Jedi. Um, but yeah, pretty much when con season starts up, that's pretty much the biggest thing I'm passionate about. Trying to get the events that I'm going to ready and get ready for each event for them.